When it comes to challenging lots for gardens, this is a great example here in rural Franklin. I am with David Allard, who is a well-known architect around the Nashville area. And David, how long has it taken you to develop this garden here on the hillside?
Well, we've been here for 36 years.
Yeah.
We actually lived down the hill for the first 4 and have been up here for 32. And I've been slowly trying to integrate this and sort of integrate nature with our lifestyle over that time period. I grew up in rural Ohio and moved here from Miami. And so when we came, I was really attracted to Franklin. It's very much like our small county seat, and I wanted enough land to really garden and grow things and grow a variety of things. So we were looking for something like 10 acres, and we scoured all over on a very limited budget, and this was kind of a hard scrapple lot. So 20 acres owned by an original poor farmer. You could tell by the remnants of the farm that there wasn't much to it, and it was all overgrown. So it was kind of a labor of love to try to transform it into something that we could call home.
So this, obviously, none of this was here when you started.
No.
The rocks, the pathways, the streams, the waterfalls, this is all built by your hand?
Yeah, except the most dramatic things like trees.
Like the big trees, yes, of course.
The cedar tree, I love that handsome cedar tree, but of course,
and then you just kind of nestled the house in here on the hillside, kind of amongst the trees and with the garden as its complement.
And then the natural rock ledges, a lot of these rocks are natural ledges, and I've sort of enhanced them with built ledges, but like this waterfall actually goes over
a natural stone ledge.
A natural stone ledge that goes right up to our library there inside the house.
Okay. So even though you've planted a lot of this, you've done it in a very natural style where the hostas and things that aren't necessarily native here are naturalized into the existing woodlands.
Right. They look appropriate for the setting, even though they're not native.
Sure. And we can see, you know, we're sort of in between seasons here, but obviously in the spring there are daffodils that are now going dormant for the summer. And so you really, it looks like you have an almost constant show here of some kind, lush greenery.
There's always something that looks great, and there's always something that's in decline. Sort of like life.
Well, and exactly, life and gardening in general.
Yeah.
This is a lot of space to take care of, obviously. So tell me a little bit about how you manage a garden of this size and some of the challenges maybe that you face.
Well, first of all, I try to plant things that are relatively low maintenance, that don't require deadheading, that don't require spraying, that don't require a whole lot of tender loving care.
Exactly.
And I've made a lot of mistakes, you know, over a long period of time. And one of the mistakes is I plant too many different things. So a lot of the things, like this big blue liriope, that does great. One of the big mistakes I've made is sort of letting the plantsman, the love of plants, sort of take over the design aesthetic. So, I have to have one of these, I have one of these, sort of like Dr. Strangelove.
Exactly.
It's like,
Listen,
no more plants.
I completely understand. I completely understand.
So part of what I've done over the years is sort of let this vinca, which does really well for me, actually came from my mother's house in Ohio. Just it seems to do well, and it knits, and it has a nice quiet green color. These yews I just put in last year because I'm trying to simplify things.
Right.
I don't have the energy I used to have, and trying to keep up with things. So then the accent pieces sort of can pop out against it.
Of course. You do have a lot of hostas, so I have to ask you about deer up here. Are they a problem?
Well, first I have a lot of hostas because my sister in Ohio, it lives in the old farmhouse in Ohio, has about 750 varieties. And every year she brings me about 20 different varieties. And I said, no, I want more of the same. I don't want
More
so I
start
to have a list. But deer are not been a huge problem for us.
Like me, you're out in the country, and I think that's a little bit of an advantage because they do have other land to roam and other things that, you know, maybe while there are things here that they like, there's enough to keep them interested and occupied off-site.
Right.
So you obviously have some natural rock ledges as part of the garden, but most of these rock walls were laid by your hand, and most of this dirt was moved by you.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that process.
You know, the soil is a foundation of everything you do in the garden. It's so important to have good soil. It makes everything easier. And
absolutely.
What was here was rich but very thin under a layer of very heavy clay. And so the reason for the terraces here and down in the vegetable garden is primarily to provide me an opportunity to get much richer soil without dramatically changing the landscape or affecting the trees. So I've sort of laid these rock walls, and there are a lot of them.
Right.
But I've done them over a long period of time, you know, collecting rocks from the property or from other construction sites or other kinds of places. And I just basically bring composted leaves or composted manure from friends or sand and dirt or whatever.
Whatever you can get your hands on.
Whatever I can get my hands on to really enrich the garden. And because it's been done over a long period of time, soils are somewhat different in different areas of the garden, and things have matured a little bit differently. But that's been a really sort of one of the principles of the whole way this garden is built, is to provide really good soil
right.
wherever I'm going to try to plant material.
Well, and I would imagine that these terraces down this hillside also help you to control water on the property a little bit also.
Yeah, controlling rainwater is a big environmental push these days anyway. But we, you know, because there are relatively flat areas with landscaping, it sort of mimics nature in terms of being able to percolate through. We are on a porous surface here rather than hardscape. A lot of the terraces and things, they're all laid on sand. The rainwater I collect in the gutters and actually channel to the pond, so it's recycled.
Oh wow! So the pond actually is filled with rainwater right from the roof of the house.
Right. I allow this bigger pond to get, you know, to drop down until it gets, you know, if it gets so low that the pumps can't run, then I have to fill it in. But generally, the rainwater keeps the ponds going.
That's amazing. So down here at the bottom of the hill, you have this beautiful row of crepe myrtles that sort of gives a definition to the end of the more ornamental part of the garden. And then you have this little potager, or this little kind of mixed flower and vegetable garden down here at the bottom of the hill. Tell me a little bit about the garden and how it serves you.
Well, I actually started this garden when we moved up here, and I was working and not real busy, and I still wanted to garden. So I had this small, primarily vegetable garden. Now I use it for a seasonal kind of garden. I do a lot of really early spring planting, putting peas and lettuce and other kinds of things here. I do have a rabbit problem here, but I cover with floating row covers, those kind of year, and it helps with insects and things too. And then now, when we're sort of moving into full swing with the vegetable garden down below, which gets a lot more sun, I just sort of convert and throw annual seeds in and start. So in the summer, this becomes more of a cutting garden.
Cutting garden.
And this is a chance to have really exuberant flowers.
So it really serves two completely different purposes, which is kind of neat in a small space like this. So you do have one good sunny area down here at the bottom of the hill. How did this come to be in the midst of all of these trees?
Well, part of it is a lesson in gardening. I had a magnificent ash tree there. It was really one of the most beautiful trees in the site, big, tall, horizontal branching.
Right.
And after about 4 years of struggling with trying to keep it healthy, the arborist said, you've got to just let it go.
Sure.
So we took that out, and it's sort of been a blessing because I was able to really get a good lawn in, and now I've got 4 grandkids, so this is really a great area to stay. So I've got a much sunnier border too. So we've really enjoyed it. That just happened last year. So.
Yeah, so you're able to grow a few things down here that you can't grow in the shadier part of the garden.
Right.
And certainly this big open lawn, like you said, the grandkids come and visit. It's a great place to play, and I think sometimes just to have an open space to kind of breathe in, to let the garden breathe a little bit. Where you sort of have a little bit of a rest.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because part of the reason I put the boxwood, because I do have gardens that go down the hill, and it's just too much.
Right.
So I think that boxwood sort of quieted everything down, and it made this area a little formal, so it's a little bit more of a contrast.
Yeah, and it just feels like a place that you want to come sit and relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, David, your garden is magnificent. Thank you for letting us come.
I love sharing what I know about gardening.
Well, thank you so much.
For inspiring garden tours, growing tips, and garden projects, visit our website at volunteergardener.org or on YouTube at the Volunteer Gardener channel, and like us on Facebook.